Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Did you see this document from Volante Tech? This is a powerful document. Now, the document is titled Immediate Cross-Border Payments, the Near Future of Global Transactions. All right. Now, if you scroll down this document, scroll on down there, you're going to see a section that begins, a paragraph that begins with in Europe. Let's start there. It says here, in Europe, while some schemes exist to enable cross-border payments, they do not cover the entire region. No interoperability, no reach. Remember, all things that we do with ease, right? This shows how we're going to dominate, why we're going to dominate. It says, and there are still significant gaps. Business trading to and from Europe will benefit from partnering with banks that can provide IXB as the region waits for further developments. Let me pause there. But that's if the banks are at the forefront of providing IXB, of providing instant payments, providing instant settlement and things like that of credit. But they're going to elaborate on that here. All right. Volante is going to tell you all of that. But I personally believe in the future. Sure. Could the banks be at the forefront? They want to be. Traditionally, they have been, but they don't need to be. I think that there are a lot of those offerings are going to merge with us fully. We're going to take over fully. That's why I see of course, that's far into the future, but that's what I believe is going to happen. It's already happening. We're literally devouring them. They're simply becoming a version of us. That's it. And they really can't do anything without XRP, XLM, algorithm, the distributed ledger technologies. But let's continue on here. Because they're telling, they continue to tell on themselves. It says, in addition, European countries are seeking legislation that forces, holy smokes, Europe is not playing, that forces all banks to become reachable. I don't think people are understanding what is happening right now. Do they see the rapid expansion and rollout of the new financial system? Now, I don't know where everything's going to end up. I'm not proclaiming that, but they're forcing them to have interoperability. At least they're trying to have interoperability. That's what we do. That's us. That's the new financial system. Who's deep all over Europe? Ripple, Quant, Stellar, Algorand. Come on now. They're telling. Let me read it again to you. Tell me what you believe this means in the comment section. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? It says, in addition, European countries are seeking. That means there's pushback. Of course there are. Of course there is. But they're at least they're attempting to implement this now, which shows us that the world, the West included, is ready en masse to move forward into the new financial system. We just have a tiny bit of rogues we're going against, folks. Just a tiny bit. We can defeat them. We can roll them over. So, in time, we'll see if we actually win this war, but we're fighting the battles, what this shows. But it says European countries are seeking legislation that forces all banks to become reachable, interoperability, and have the ability to send instant credit transfers. That's what I was talking about before. Now, you might say, well, they're saying they want them to become reachable. That doesn't necessarily mean interoperability. Wait, there's this next sentence right here where they literally tell you that we're winning. Yes, we are. I know you don't want to. I know. I can disagree to disagree. Perfectly fine. You have your own opinion. I'm not trying to convince you to think like me or take on my thoughts. Not at all. I love the beauty of uniqueness, but I personally feel we're winning. This next sentence says this: these legislations will enhance overall interoperability. That's quite interesting considering they can't reach most regions. This works in every, listen, they have their methods and techniques of feigning reachability. Of course, that's with a whole lot of intermediaries and fees involved. Keep that in mind. And that's only in those so-called established regions. Now, with the rest of the world being considered emerging regions, they can't reach them, which they also discuss in this document as well. But that we already knew. That's why we dominate. That's where most of the money is coming from. That's where exponential growth is going to be felt and exponential capital is going to be coming out of those emerging places, which some of them are tremendously huge. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but India is considered an emerging economy, right? It's a growing economy. It's a developing nation, but it is a powerful one because of what they're able to do, because of their numbers. I mean, I could go on and on. However, like I said, there's going to be a lot of growth out of there, out of places like that. A lot of capital, a lot of businesses are going to be establishing themselves and having a presence there. That is a lot of value, traceability, commodities coming out of a lot of these places. That's where the money is going to be. That's where the money rush, the new gold rush is going to be in the future. Just my humble opinion, not financial advice. And who is there? XRP, XLM, Algorand, Hedera, the bank coins, et cetera, right? But let's continue on here. So these legislations, once again, will enhance overall interoperability. I say this a couple times just to drive it home, and strengthen the case for applying IXB on top the new layer, the new financial system. It says here, considerations for implementing IXB. The most important considerations when implementing IBX. Sorry, I said IXB. Well, they say IXB at the top here. Then it says IBX down here. So it's not my mistake, actually. It says, are your customers' unique needs? While each IXB category and solution have benefits and drawbacks, ultimately the one that works for clients is most important. So once again, they're getting into that where, you know how I've been saying for a long time now, there's enough money to go around. Well, of course, I'm talking about circulating supply of capital and value overall, but also I'm trying to include in that thought that every bank is going to require something different. They all want something different, from the smart contracts, the traceability, a little more of this, a little less of that. Everything is going to be customized. So there's room for everyone. That's the beauty of the bank coins. So maybe you need the banks may need something with smart contracts. Algorand is there, XDC, depending on how much of a large footprint they may want with the banks, and they definitely have access, right? Hedera is right there with top-notch scalability and smart contracts, right? So they can customize those different offerings, right? And still give access to corridors that the banks wouldn't be able to access. That's the beauty. You need liquidity, and you need it managed by machine learning. XRP Ripple has you. You need escrows. You need extremely fast payments. You need to break your payments up into smaller quantities while still having it be a portion of the larger overall settling value. Sure, XRP. You need to move interbank payments at light speed, giant payments, small payment, however you want to do this. We can do it either way. XRP, right? You need full control over what you're issuing, be able to issue anything, anywhere, at any time. XLMC. They all have their part to play. They don't step on each other's toes. They flow together so beautifully. And that's what they're talking about here. Every bank is going to need something different. This is very, very good. In my humble opinion, it's very, very good. Let's continue on here. This is a powerful document. Did you guys see this? It's on volantetech.com, but you can also go to their Twitter. It's right there, right at the top. Right at the top. It says, I'm sure some other people are going to break this down. This is a potent document. It says the currency and regions their clients are transacting in, their receiving bank, and the value of the payments they are processing will all have an effect on which solution, which bank coin. Of course, you're going to have some legacy system offerings, but I don't cover that here. So that's why I say which bank coin, because we're in there deep. This is really what we do, right? An effect on which solution makes sense for any given bank. A card network-based solution might make sense for banks working with major retailers in the US, Europe, or Asia, but it wouldn't be as beneficial for clients who are primarily operating in emerging regions. This is what I was saying before, right? Without a thorough knowledge of customers' operations, banks risk investing in a solution only to find that their clients do not benefit. This is why, listen, this is why I said a lot of the times, there's going to be swaps of the systems, swaps of which crypto is used, which blockchain is used, which DLT, if you want to use Hashgraph, also throw that in there, which one is used. I believe they're going to have to swap because of how rapidly the world is changing. All of these regions have massive populations of people shifting from here to there and back again. people looking for work, looking for better places to live, massive amounts of people. You haven't seen this? I mean, you know, I don't know what they put on the news, but I know I read a lot of different paperwork, and this is what it says. It says there's mass amounts of people moving around. If that's the case, then the needs of that population is going to change, right? Because maybe traditionally speaking, people are just holding funds in their checking account, their savings account, and they're moving that money around locally, typically with their debit cards, credit cards, and such issued by the banks, right? So you go into grocery stores and such. That's mostly how the capital was used. But as the populations change, this is where the new financial system comes in, because now in a more global society, people may be sending money back and forth more. They may be grocery shopping for people in other countries, taking care of their mother, their father, little brother, nephews, nieces, whatever it might be, sending money back and forth. Then on top of that, so that's one aspect I'm looking at. There's a lot of capital going to flow through these bank coins in the future, given time. I'm not expecting this to happen immediately. I'm trying to be rational. Although if it does happen immediately, I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. I'll take that money. But another thing to keep in mind, right? I'm just going to throw this out there because I think this is going to be powerful, is once again, people are going to run their businesses in one country, probably a multitude of countries. You're going to see people be able to run small businesses, not just like the medium and large businesses do now, where they have multiple places around the world that they're operating. No, people can have they're going to have multiple businesses, and I'm talking about physical. They may have physical representations, right? Because I think it's going to be a little bit easier to run things given artificial intelligence, given outsourcing, given online hiring, virtual, like the metaverse type style of thing where someone is running things in a virtual world, but you have a physical representation where you pick up an item, things like that. Sorry about that. I'm not so eloquent with it. But sure, somebody may have one part of their small business in the United States. They may have one part of their small business in Southeast Asia. Small businesses will be able to do this. So there's going to be a lot of capital flowing back and forth. They got to pay payroll cross borders, purchase things across borders. Then people are not going to want their stuff lost. A lot of things are lost. When you're ordering things for small business, you're going to need traceability too. So now you got traceability, you got payroll, you're moving money back and forth. You got to send, a few dollars to abuela, you know what I'm saying? There's so many of these different things. So that's a lot of capital. Only we can do that. That's a lot of capital. That's only we can do that. So it's looking good, in my opinion. It's looking really good. My goodness, Volante Tech, I tell you, they always put out some good documents, very potent, powerful, and always get me excited. Let's go back up to the beginning just for a little bit, right? Scroll to the top of this page here. All right. And at the beginning of this document, let's start here. It says, according to a study conducted by Visa, which you already know which bank coins Visa was in deep with early. We don't know to what capacity they might use them in the future. But Visa via Tala, T-A-L-A, if you want to look it up, Tala, Visa has a connection with. Tala is utilizing Stellar, or was using Stellar. You can look that up on your own. But then Visa also has ties to FIS. They had an integration with FIS. FIS is on the governing board of what? Hedera HBAR. So they're in bed with a couple of the key bank coins in there. So Visa's in there. They're sort of a team player there. Okay, so I like to hear from them from time to time. It says here, according to a study conducted by Visa, 87% of global merchant executives see cross-border sales as their biggest potential growth area. And that was in 2019, before the redacted for shoppers online, which became a behavior pattern. Now, like it's a part of their behavioral patterns now. It's just everybody's just ordering things online. They got used to it. Humans, they adapt to things at times. It becomes ingrained in their psychology to do such. Also people, they get used to certain conveniences. And as soon as something becomes convenient to you, you don't want to let it go. Which is great for online business, great for cross-border payments, especially now you have these online storefronts. People are ordering things from overseas and such like that. You're going to need those payments to be a little bit more transparent, a little bit more quick, instant finality, instant settlement, more liquidity, especially as we have, I believe we're going to see a lot of fluctuations in a lot of the values of these dominant currencies. I'm telling you, keep an eye on that. Listen, I'm just saying, keep an eye on what the BRICS nations are doing. All right, especially the ones that are moving massive amounts of oil. If they wind up becoming full-fledged members of the BRICS nation, and now they're not really dealing with the United States to a large capacity already, they started to dial that back. That's going to have a massive impact on the US dollar. We've talked about it a lot of times. All right. Watch the dollar and watch what's happening with the dollar. That's going to have a huge impact on the new financial system. It could be the last little, bit of pressure for the West to say, you know what? OK, we need to take action now. Roll that out. Flip that switch because we want to stay dominant. I don't know that that's going to happen. I'm saying it's a possibility, or, there's a high probability. One of the subscribers out there, they wanted to insert that word probability. He said probable, but I'm going to say probability. OK. There's the high probability that can occur, but it's not a guarantee, of course. Let's continue on here. It says today, simply offering cross-border payments is not enough for banks to stay competitive. I've been saying this the entire time. And people get fired up. Say, oh, the banks, they're trying to do cross-border payments. Swift is, nobody wants to use them. They're terrible. Their systems are horrible. Now you have Volante Tech telling you the same thing. It's not enough. Why is it not enough? Because their technology it's not competitive with us. What we offer is far superior. This is why sometimes you hear me talking about the technological superiority of the distributed ledger technologies over the legacy system. They can't compete with us. They're second best, second rate. This is only a number one in my book. That's it. And that's how a lot of people think. They want what's the best. They don't want what's second. We're number one. We're the best. And we don't need them. They need us. For them to share that light. We allow them to share our light. Well, I'm gonna let Volante tell you here. This is what I'm telling you. This is a potent document. If you get a chance to read it. It says here, where did we leave off? Okay. Simply offering cross-border payments is not enough for the banks to stay competitive in the global marketplace. Which means what? That means if they don't work with us, if they don't become competitive, because they're not now, that's what this sentence says. If they don't become competitive, then what does that mean for us? Wouldn't that theoretically mean absolute dominance? You tell me in the comment section, let me know. That's what it was saying. If they're not competitive, then we win. Simple as that. They got to make it a competition. Right now, I don't think that they're going to do that. What they're going to do is they're working on ways to congeal with us, but they're testing different things. They're going to take their chances. Of course, they're going to see if they can do something on their own. That's just the nature of the business. It says the early days of the redacted are long gone. Let's skip over that part right there. We don't need to read that. Immediate cross-border payments. They're talking about that instant payment. Who's Volante working with? XRP, instant payment, instant liquidity, machine learning. We covered that in the last video. You didn't watch that last video? Watch that last video. They're telling. That was a potent one. Last two videos been potent. Machine learning to be able to allocate and reallocate liquidity, which I believe that's going to be used to a minimum, but they can use it to the max. Why do I say I believe it's going to be used to the minimum? We can create the biggest liquidity pool mankind has ever seen. Ever. We can. Doesn't mean that we are, but we can. That's the very nature of on-demand liquidity. That's the very nature of the XRPL having the capability of different banks having an escrow of XRP. We read about that, right? I showed you the documents. I showed you the screenshots that just came out like a month ago, about a month and a half ago on XRPL Labs released that, okay? And you can go to their, I think, xrplabs.org or something, and you can literally read it on their front page. So they can hold XRP and escrow to make the system even faster, even better. So it's not that the money is not locked up. The money is always liquid. So it's not like Nostro Vostro. But these are things that are huge. That if utilized, will cause that price to explode. Tell me that it wouldn't. How would it not? And if you're going to tell me that it's not, please use science. Please use factual information. Show me some documents, something like that. Then I will hear you out. I will still disagree. Probably because, listen, I read just too many of the Bank of International Settlements documents, IMF documents, read their transcripts, World Bank, Amphif, my word, Volante Tech, Stronghold, all of these things, all these videos and information. We're sitting on a ton of information here that all points in one direction. This new financial system is, they're rolling it out at a rapid pace. I never thought it would move this fast. I didn't, so we're going to leave it there. little bit of shorter video today and let everyone relax. We'll come back tomorrow with a regular video, multiple chapters, Algorand, XLM, Quant, all the beautiful bank coins. We'll come back with all those chapters tomorrow. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. I definitely know what I'm going to do about it. I'm fired up right now. Oh yeah, I'm loving the bank coins, and it's looking like a lot is going to happen towards the middle of the year, towards the end. I could be wrong on that. This is my humble opinion. It's not financial advice. All right. If you never buy a bank coin or sell all your bank coins, wouldn't make a difference to me at all. I'm here for that bank money. I'm going to get that bank money. I'm going to have it. I'm going to have my allotment of that bank money. I have to have it. Let me calm down. When I talk about that bank money, you have no idea. We've defeated the big businesses before. We took their money before, but this was in the stock market. This is the big one, folks. I want it. I need it. This is the trophy. One last time. One last victory. The victory of a lifetime. I have to have it. So I call myself an Ahab investor. You ever read Moby Dick? Captain Ahab hunting the whale. Did you read that? Maybe we should read that on the channel. Do you want to read? You want to read it and see how the captain, Anyway, now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money. That was a good slap right there. I got to slap it again because I don't like the fact that the desk made me feel some pain. Do you ever feel like that? Like how? Like I'm competitive in every possible way. Let's slap the desk again. Yeah, now I felt good. Yeah. Psychologically, I'm telling myself that I got the best of the desk. That's just how I think. So until next time, let's get to the money.